Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with the Spain News Update. We'll take a look at some of the main stories that have caught my attention in the press here in Spain, and we'll also take a look at some comments that have been left on the channel recently by viewers. Before I begin, a huge thanks to all of the people that have supported this channel in recent times, whether it's by buying me a coffee, whether it's through the Super Thanks option on YouTube, longer-term supporters on Patreon, channel members of this YouTube channel. Thank you very much for that support. Now, straight into the news, and it seems that parts of eastern Spain still can't catch a break as far as heavy rains and flooding is concerned. Because as we can read here, a flood in Cadaqués, Girona has swept away 32 vehicles but leaves no casualties. Heavy rains in the province of Girona caused the flood in the town of Cadaqués, which swept away around 30 vehicles parked along the stream that runs through this municipality located in the Alt Empordà region. This was confirmed by the town's mayor, Pia Sereniana, in an interview with Catalonia radio, where she explained that the peak intensity occurred between 2 and 3 a.m. While the stream is still flowing, it is no longer as intense as it was at that time. Currently, a pre-alert remains in effect in the area, with forecasts indicating that rainfall could accumulate up to 100 litres per square metre within 24 hours. The Catalonia Fire Department reported that the flood, which occurred at 3:54 a.m. and caused no injuries, left the swept-away vehicles piled beneath a bridge but did not reach the sea. 2 fire department units were dispatched to the scene. So Cadaqués in the province of Girona in Catalonia, the latest town here in Spain to suffer heavy rains and flooding. But fortunately, as we saw there, no loss of human life, only cars destroyed. Now on to news about the Dana, which as we know last week devastated parts of the Valencian community and parts of Castilla-La Mancha, and top politicians in the Valencian community are now under serious scrutiny about the way they handled that devastating Dana. One of them is Carlos Marzón, the Valencian premier, who denies being at a birthday party on the day of the Dana. "I was in constant communication," he says. Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez is preparing to attend the climate summit, but his departure is overshadowed by a political controversy that erupted after the Dana disaster that severely affected the province of Valencia on the 29th of October, with Valencian Generalitat President Carlos Marzón and his team under scrutiny for their handling of the emergency. Criticism has intensified over the lack of clear responses about coordination and the activation of alerts during the crisis. Marzón, who has been accused by some media outlets of allegedly attending a birthday party on the day of the disaster, responded publicly, "How can anyone say I was at a birthday party? No, I categorically deny it." According to the president, he was at a working lunch and insisted that he was in constant communication personally with everything that was happening. So Mr. Marzón, as we can see there, under intense scrutiny about what he was doing in the lead up to the tragedy in the Valencian community. Some people alleging that he was at a birthday party, but Marzón fighting back saying that wasn't the case, he was at a work lunch. But whatever the case, it could be argued that he didn't have his eye completely on the ball on October the 29th when the was starting to hit the fan. And the other Valencian politician also under intense scrutiny at the moment, the person who is in charge of emergencies in the Valencian community, apparently didn't even know that there was an alert system that she could use. As we can read here, Valencia's top emergency official admits she was unaware of the ES alert system until the evening of the Dana. The Minister of Justice and Interior and the top official for emergencies of the Valencian Generalitat, Salomé Pradas, admitted on Thursday that she was unaware of the existence of the mass alert system for mobile phones, ES Alert, until 8 p.m. on October the 29th, by which time the floods caused by the Dana were already devastating much of the province. In an interview with the regional television station A Punt, Pradas explained that at 8 in the evening she received a call from the Secretary of State for Ecological Transition under Minister Teresa Rivera, who informed her from Colombia and conveyed that he could not guarantee that the Forata Dam would not break. This is when a technician informed us about the existence of a mechanism called ES Alert, which is not yet regulated, not included in our regional plans, and is still a draft awaiting approval by the Civil Protection Committee. So many articles, like the the ones that we've just seen, suggesting that politicians in the Valencian community could have handled things a whole lot better on that fateful day, October the 29th. The Valencian premier admitting he was at a long lunch, and the top emergency official in the Valencian community not even knowing that there was a warning system that could alert people of the dangers. And this, my friends, is the level of politicians that we have running this country. Shameful. Another story that highlights political mismanagement in the Valencian community is this one. And as we can see, flood prevention works at the ill-fated Pollo ravine have been stalled for 15 years despite the risk to several municipalities. The mayor of Aldea, Guillermo Luján, reiterated it recently. Unfortunately, we are used to having to activate the flood prevention system once or twice a year. This municipality in the metropolitan area of Valencia has been one of the areas most affected by the Dana. The reason is as simple as the fact that the Saleta ravines runs through its streets. In other words, Aldea and other towns devastated by the flood, such as Paiporta, Ribarroja or Torrent, are in flood risk zones. This conclusion isn't drawn solely from the images of the devastation left by the Dana. The warning was issued at least 15 years ago by the Hooker Hydrographic Confederation when the environmental adaptation and drainage plan for the Pollo Basin leading to the Albufera began processing. However, the state agency under the Ministry for Ecological Transition has been stuck with a project whose objective is to mitigate flood risks in a total of 11 municipalities surrounding the Pollo ravine. On October the 29th, up to 2,282 cubic meters of water per second flowed through it. So you can come to your own conclusions after reading articles like that one. Flood prevention works, I'll say it again, flood prevention works have been stalled for 15 years. It beggars belief in a country that's proud to say that it's the fourth biggest economy in the Eurozone. Now let's take a look at some comments that have been left on the channel recently. One here from Irene. I'm considering retiring early. Is it possible to enroll my kids in public school in Spain if I am on retirement visa? Yeah, Irene, thanks for the comment. And I imagine that you were talking about the NLV visa, the non-lucrative visa, which many people use to move to this country. And if that is the case, when you become residents in this country, you can enroll your kids into the school system. In fact, you will have to enroll your kids into the school system because they are obliged by law to go to school. And if you don't enroll them in school, the authorities will come knocking at your door. One here from Mike. The reason for the flood in Valencia was caused by the removal of dams. Spain and other European countries are told by the European Union to remove dams. Yeah, Mike, thanks for the comment, but do me a favor and don't put comments like this one on the channel because you're spreading fake news. And that goes for other people out there that are doing the same thing regarding the removal of dams. Because the recent floods in Valencia had nothing to do with the removal of dams. As we can read here from the European Digital Media Observatory, what infrastructures have been removed in the area affected by the Dana and why we know they are not large dams or reservoirs. Some messages from this narrative claim that dams and reservoirs are being destroyed. They also suggest that this is being done at the request of the European Union. This is false. What has been destroyed, at least since the year 2000, are small river barriers, structures that interrupt the flow of rivers and are mostly weirs and small dams and only a few meters high that have become obsolete or are no longer in use. These structures do not retain water like a reservoir does. Instead, they were used to raise the water level and divert the flow to other places, for example, to facilitate the irrigation of nearby plots. In this article by maldita.es, we explain the infrastructures demolished in the province of Valencia to debunk the claim that 4 reservoirs have been demolished. So again, Mike, stop reading what you're reading on the internet because it's absolute rubbish. One here from Pauline. When you do your food reviews, would it be possible that you commented on gluten-free options? Would be really helpful to know in advance if gluten-free breads, cakes, etc. are available. Yeah, Pauline, thanks for the comment, but the reason I don't mention whether or not these places have gluten-free options is because I am not gluten intolerant. So it's not something that determines what I eat or don't eat. But I understand that if you are gluten intolerant, you need to know which places offer gluten-free options, so I'll try to keep it in mind in upcoming videos. But I can almost say with certainty that the majority of places that I have visited in these food videos do not have many gluten-free options, or at least I don't see many options available on the menu. One here from Battlemorph, talking of good coffee, why are there not more specialty coffee cafes in Spain? Do they actually like that torrefacto rubbish? I'm fortunate here in Chiclana to have easy access to 3 high-quality roasters within 50 kilometers, so I don't get why the Spanish seem so reluctant to change in the way that Australia, the UK, and Scandinavia have. Yeah, Battlemorph, thanks for the comment, and I have also asked myself that same question many times. The Spanish people really like the coffee that they are served in bars and restaurants in this country, the torrefacto rubbish, and I've come to the conclusion that yes, the majority of people do like that coffee. And the reason is, I imagine, that the average Spaniard has been drinking that type of coffee for so long that they've got used to it and actually like it. But if you are not from Spain and you haven't been drinking that type of coffee all your life, then it's pretty hard to get used to. On that note, I'm going to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. If you have anything to add to the conversation today, the comment section is the place for you. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.